Hello there, and welcome to my semi-final coverage of the 2019 World Juniors. First things first, let's see the Kazakhstan versus Denmark team to see if Denmark has a chance to participate in next year's World Junior Championship. Not looking good out of the gate for Denmark, as Cyan Daniar scores a beautiful goal rounding the Danish keeper and scoring the first goal of the game 30 seconds in. 5 minutes later, the puck would find its way to David Makutski to give Kazakhstan a 2-0 lead. Things are looking bad for Denmark. Might as well should skip to the third now because nothing else really happened for Denmark, and Artur Gatiatov scores 2 empty net goals to give Kazakhstan a 4-0 lead and the win. I would like to point out that Gatiatov also, with these 3 points he had in this game, including the 2 empty netters, he now ties for the tournament lead in points, which I actually find pretty interesting for, coming from Kazakhstan. Especially since the fact that he's only 5'7" and 130 pounds. Demed Yeremayev also had another very good game, collecting the shutout on I think 26 shots. Honestly, had a really good tournament, this guy. I don't know if he'll be back next year. I'm not sure what his age is. But either way, Kazakhstan has secured themselves a spot in 2020 World Juniors, while Denmark will have to work their way back up again. We enter our first semi-final game of the day between the Americans and the Russians. 8 minutes into the first period, the Russians finally catch a break. Nikita Shashkov puts one in off of his skate, but under double IHF rules, any goal where the puck is directed in with your skate, it is no goal. So in my opinion, in the NHL, this goal would probably count since there's not much of a kicking motion and it ends up going in just fine. But maybe the double IHF may want to look over that again, because that's a harsh rule in my opinion. That's a very harsh rule. This would end up being very costly for the Russians because Logan Cockrell will end up giving a beautiful pass over to Oliver Wahlstrom, who makes it 1-0 for the Americans. At the end of the first period, Dylan Sandberg would end up taking a really silly penalty, cross-checking the Russian player right in the chest, absolutely unneeded. But then the Russians would be taken off the power play since Grigory Denisenko stands up for his teammate. And in a way, I find this is okay. That was an extremely cheap shot to take. You don't do that in this tournament, not at all. Into the second though, on the US power play, Alexander Chmielewski will score on the power play from a feed from Jack Hughes, making it 2-0 States. Midway through the third though, Grigory Denisenko would end up scoring a beautiful goal short side on Caden Primu, making it 2-1. The Russians are getting closer. The Russians would come close to tying it early in the third period, but the puck was inches away from going in until the American defender cleared it on the line. It would end up not being enough though, because the Russians would end up losing this game 2-1 to the Americans. This was a very emotional loss for the Russians, especially for their captain Klim Kostin, who he could not hold back the tears after the loss. He did share some obscenities for the crowd. He was acting a little bit childish at the end there, but I mean, you did just lose in the semifinals, and it is tough, and I understand that. But either way, good luck to the States in the finals. Let's see who they're up against. Next up, we have the two underdog teams taking on each other, Finland versus Switzerland. The starting goalie for Switzerland was Luca Hollenstein once again. Let's see if he can repeat with another stunning performance against the Finns. The surge of quick goals in this tournament continues as Jesse Jolinen scores right off the bat 30 seconds in to make it 1-0. Finland would hold no restraints against Switzerland, as in Arntel Vidi scoring 2 goals quickly after each other. The Finns would then find themselves on the power play where Henri Jokiharju scores to make it 4-0. This would be the end of Luca Hollenstein's night. After having such a great performance 2 days ago, he could not carry on. The pressure may have been too immense for him, but either way, he is switched in for Akira Schmid. The Swiss would then find themselves on a power play, and 8 seconds into it, Filip Kurashev scores his 6th goal of the tournament, leading his team in goals. Could this be a spark of life for Switzerland? Although we get into the second period, and Finland would end up scoring 2 more goals in here by Aleksi Haponiemi and Rasmus Kupari. 6-1 would end up being the final score in this game, and Finland finds himself in the gold medal matchup against the States. I feel bad for the Swiss team. They had such a great tournament, but I honestly did not feel they'd have enough to take on Finland, especially since their expectations were also kind of high, even though they kind of weren't at the same time. But being the underdogs, you want to come into this and prove your worth and go all the way. But sadly, the jitters may have got to the team, and they could not fulfill their destiny of a gold medal matchup. Although it was a great tournament for such players as Filip Kurashev and Luca Hollenstein, even though he had a bit of a crumble in that last game there, he still had a really good tournament overall. It's too bad his stats are going to look kind of buffed out there, not as good as they should have been. But either way, he had a great tournament, and so did Switzerland. Anyways, that does it for the semi-finals in the World Juniors. I can't believe we're already in the finals, man. This tournament goes by fast when you're having fun watching it. But either way, I'll be excited to be with you guys tomorrow for coverage of our gold medal game with Finland taking on the USA. See you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed.